Hi, today I'm going to show how I do my vermiculture. So, vermiculture, making worm castings and enriching the soil for your garden. So, what I did is I bought some worms a few years back, more than a few years, and I took a bucket, took the lid, and I put some holes in the lid, and then I took a 5-gallon bucket and I drilled some holes in the bottom, and I glued screen so the worms can't get through. I glued some, just used a drill, you know, I don't know what is that, a quarter of an inch or something, and glued the screen on, let it dry, and then what I do is I I'll break my neck here. So I'll take some soil and some table scrappings, or you don't want no meats or dairy products or something that's acidic like orange peels or stuff like that. I'd avoid that. Just basic table scrap, when you're cutting up your veggies, or they love watermelon rind. I put a watermelon rind out there, and the next day it's gone. The only thing that's left is like little pieces of the outside skin. They love watermelon, cantaloupe, skin, the skin and all that. Just love it. Tomatoes. So what I did was I got my sealed bucket, no leaks, right? And then put my bucket inside the other bucket, and you want to make sure that you've got some paper or something out around it so that it doesn't stick to the other bucket. You can take it out in and out. So then I put that in there, and I take some soil, just some compost from the garden or something. You want some compost. I put about that much on the bottom, and then I put my worms in, and then I threw some table scraps, from processing for dinner or whatever. Yeah, and then put that in there, and after a couple months, I only started with, it was 100 worms, red wiggler worms. Started with 100, and now we got a few more than that. So it's really important to monitor them because they can get too hot. So uh, from time to time, I had to take the lid off because there were so many in that bucket. I wasn't paying attention. It went from 100 to I don't know how many thousands, right? Faster than I realized. They were very happy in the bucket, but they outgrew it pretty quick, and they were like trying to get out because of the heat. They're crawling all along the walls. Like, I gotta get out of here. They were doing too much spooning, right? Too much, too much closeness. And so eventually, what I did is I buried an old freezer in the ground so it can stay, 50 something year round, so they can go low or they can go high when it's hot, cold, whatever. And so what I got here is an old chest freezer that I buried, and it's winter time. Yep, this is what is it? February 3rd. February 3rd, I think. So I buried this thing about halfway in the dirt, and this is my little critters in here. So what I do is I put cardboard down. I take cardboard and I put the cardboard down because that helps maintain a certain amount of moisture. And so there they are, little red wigglers. I just fed them a couple days ago. Yeah, they're all in there. I put my avocado seeds in here. They seem to grow pretty good. If I was to move this, you can see, I don't know if you can see that cluster of worms there. If I was to move this, there's, I don't know, thousands and thousands of those girls down in that little hole there. Yeah, and of course that's like that underneath all that. There's a cluster there. So you want to keep them fed, and if for some reason they run out of food, you just didn't have enough for them. And as long as you have the cardboard, as long as there's cardboard down, they actually will eat that cardboard. Whoa, there's a cluster of those girls right there. So they'll eat that cardboard. The cups, those are avocados. I've grown a lot of avocado trees in here, and so you can see how they're clustered around that last batch of table scraps, eating it all up. And so there's a snail. And so this is and I use that. So I'll take all that out eventually, and I'll use that to start my gardens. So I'll take little pots and I'll take a little bit of worm casting, and I'll use that to start my seeds and stuff like that. You don't want to add too much compost because it's pretty rich stuff. You know, it's like pretty rich. So you want to like mix a little bit of the worm castings in with regular compost, because it could be too acidic for starting plants. And I also take, so what I do is I'll take a bucket in the house and I will put scrappings in the bucket. How I feed my worms now, my wigglers, is I will take a bucket like that, it's in the house, throw all my scraps like banana peelings and all kinds of stuff, you know, whatever scrappings from processing foods. No dairy, no acidic, no onion peelings, stuff like that. They're sensitive to that kind of acid. So, and then when the bucket's full of scraps, because I put water in it, I don't leave it just sit there and mold. As the bucket fills up in the house of scraps, I keep the water level about that. And then I typically put that aside and grab another bucket, start filling that one, and let the other one sit for about another week. And then I'll take that and I'll dump the liquid out, and I use that as fertilizer. Banana peelings, that soak, good fertilizer. Plants love it. And so that right here is ready to be fed to the plants. That was my last batch of homemade fertilizer, right? So you can soak bananas in water, and it's got growth hormones in it. Plants love it. Oh, I need to close that worm bin there. It helps keep them warm. So by keeping this closed, also it kind of keeps their own, because they generate their own body heat, just like a beehive, and they'll kind of keep that temperature up, just from because there's so many. I don't know. Maybe there's millions. I don't know. They've had 3 years to get into the millions. The last time I emptied that thing out, it was kind of difficult getting the worms out. So what I learned to do was, before I'm ready to empty that thing out, what I've learned to do was go and take so what I do is I take all the dirt out, but first I take their favorite foods, which is watermelon rinds, cantaloupe rind, whatever. I get a hold of it. Go to a restaurant, go in the back. Hey, got any watermelon rinds, cantaloupe rind? And I'll bring that here. Let them feast for about 4 or 5 days, because they will all come up to the top. From wherever they are, they'll come up. And then I'll take that whole scoop of worms, put them in a different container, and then I will take all that worm casting out, set it in a big pile, usually in my driveway, and let it kind of dry out, you know, and just dry out enough to where, you know, I can bag it and tag it and all that. So I got a lot last time. Well, that whole thing was almost full last time I did that. That's a lot of work, but you know, worm casting, how much does it cost for a little bag? I don't know, $10, $12. I don't remember, but I make my own, right? And so worm castings, yeah. And so when I go to do that next time, I'll make another video on how I remove my wriggly worms without killing them. Because if I was to take that dirt out with them in there, yeah, I would lose most of my worms, just through the process of you know, sifting through the worm castings to get it to dry and everything. So feed them heavy, scoop them up, take them away, put them somewhere else in another container until you can until I refill the ice chest. I mean, so once I'm able to refill the ice chest with a little bit more soil and compost, they're just right back in their home. Anyway, that's today. Please subscribe. That'd be humble and kind of you. And you have a nice day. Bye now.